On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel's changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel's Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi. Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
That is quite a hit, 49 Tomahawk missiles. And you can imagine the kind of damage that's doing. And President Trump then also sending a message that either come to the table or even much more is coming. You coming to the table tomorrow? If you're not, much more is coming. If you're coming to the table the next day, you're not, much more is coming. So where is this headed? Well, who better than our next guest here on the Rita Cosby Show? We have Arnold Punaro. He is a retired U.S. Marine Corps Major General, also head of the Punaro Group. And General, we love getting your perspective. How do you read these hits tonight and where President Trump is headed?
Well, Rita, I would say, based on the reporting that you just had, when you're talking about 48 Tomahawk cruise missiles, these are extremely precision weaponry, very lethal. They fly at subsonic speed. They probably were fired from a surface ship, could have been fired from a submarine. They fly to their target in a very precise way. They have what's called terrain matching guidance, TERCOM guidance. And they can fly down the street, they can make a right turn, they make a left turn, they can fly in a front door. So they obviously had some very precise, very high-value targets that you would use a Tomahawk against. And it also sounds like they've got our fighter aircraft that are taking out radars, reducing the Iranians' ability to operate whatever they're operating in the Strait of Hormuz, and working against this target set that the head of the warfighter, Admiral Cooper, said right before the ceasefire. We still have about 25% of our initial target set that we need to work against should the commander-in-chief tell us to do it, if the ceasefire doesn't hold, if the negotiations don't succeed, and obviously that's where we are. So I think you summed it up very well. The president, the commander-in-chief, is basically said, and he was quoted this afternoon, they've been playing us for suckers. These are the president's own words. He's not going to let that happen. He really wanted the negotiating track. He made him a couple of weeks ago an offer they shouldn't have refused. It was the best offer they were going to get. They're not going to get a better offer. That's back on the table, it sounds like, and they're going to have to make a decision. And if they don't basically show good faith and get the negotiating track moving in a forward positive direction, then I think we're going to see the president as commander-in-chief tell Admiral Cooper to continue to work down those military and high-value targets that they've been taking out tonight. But that is quite a significant sortie of Tomahawk missiles that they used tonight. So this is not a pinprick by any military definition.
How do you read also the fact that President Trump is saying that the Iranian leadership, that he was speaking directly to sort of Iranian officials, that they were reaching out to him, and apparently, General Punaro, they were asking him to stop the bombing campaign. Of course, it will only be stopped if they meet the criteria that they're not going to have nuclear development, that they sign on. He's saying, sign on? Okay, we'll stop. But if not, we're going to keep on going. But it's interesting that it sounds like at least the leadership is like reaching out to him immediately. But then publicly, they're putting out these very defiant messages. So it's very mixed messages.
Yeah, Rita, I'm not in a position to judge that. I mean, obviously, you and I are not privy to anything that's not made public by the White House, The president has access to the most sophisticated intelligence in the world. His negotiators were right there. But it's clear to me for some time, they've been playing for time. They've been dragging this out. To me, again, God bless that he was able to reach somebody responsible in a leadership position in Iran and thank him for really trying to do that. But they're clearly, if they said, well, if you stop the bombing, we'll come back to the table, they're playing for time there. So I don't put a lot of credibility into that. I wish I could, but I just don't. I think, again, we're going to have to continue the military and economic pressure on Iran. Again, just a day or two ago, not only did they try to kill our pilots and kill American troops, they told the Houthis to start, launching again. They told Hezbollah to start working against Israel. They've attacked the airport in Kuwait. That's not the sign to me of somebody that's negotiating in good faith.
Yeah, no, you hit it on the head. And then even last night, they were going after Bahrain air bases in Bahrain. In addition to all of this, what do you think are the targets? If it is these, Tomahawks, we'll hopefully get a bomb damage assessment, maybe even during this show or early tomorrow, for sure in the next few hours. What do you think in terms of you would hit? Would you hit IRGC? What would be some of the main things that you'd go after? Because to me, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, these are the hardened guys. They're still in the fight, it seems. And obviously, there's still a lot of things tied to them. I would imagine their headquarters. There's so many different operational things tied to IRGC. How could you kind of really try to eradicate and level them?
I think we need to give you a job working in CENTCOM as a targeteer because you've outlined the exact targets I think they will be using the Tomahawks against.
And by the way, General, am I recruited?
Yeah, sign me up. I'm ready to go back in. These are not dumb bombs. These are some of the most precision weapons that we have, the Tomahawk. Remember, I said, and if, for example, and you and I have talked before about this, the IRGC basically skirted around like roaches and hid out, but they know where some of their command is. They know where maybe some safe houses. They can fly that Tomahawk in the front door of that house and just with not having a lot of collateral damage with other things. It's not like you go with a 2,000-pound bomb from a B-52 and that arc light strike, when it hits, it takes out everything in the area. It's not that it's very devastating, but it's not precise. And you use these Tomahawks for critical targets, particularly key targets like you outlined. So I'm hoping that's what they're doing. Certainly, I would take out their command and control. I would take out their drone factories. Obviously they've been able to basically reproduce some of the capability, thanks to China and Russia, who's been jumping in and helping them behind the scenes. Although they say publicly they're not, we know that's not an accurate reflection of what the Chinese and the Russians are doing. So take out any additional capability they've rebuilt during the ceasefire. But I think we'll obviously have to wait. But I have been impressed since day one at the way our targeteers and the way Central Command has gone against, the high-value targets and worked them down to where they are now. Our military warfighting commands and geographic commands, we have contingency plans for every single contingency that our military might face. The European Command, the Indo-Pacific Command, the Central Command, and they work on these and they update them, monthly or yearly. And then, of course, when you get the guidance that Admiral Cooper got, we're going to have this major campaign against Iran. They go in and look at that and say, okay, we're pretty good. We got about 90%. This worked. We're going to add about another 10%. So, and then the military, the forces, they train against what we call the mission essential task list for those contingency plans. Here's what our military units are going to have to do. Let's say we've got to reinforce the Korean Peninsula, or let's say we've got to attack into North Korea. Our military knows exactly what capabilities they have to train to. They know what munitions they're going to use. So this is a highly, highly professional way they go about doing this. And so they're working down those target sets, working down, the first days, it's stuff that could harm us, get rid of that. And again, we'll wait and see what the bomb damage assessment said. But when you use 48 Tomahawk cruise missile, there's going to be significant damage.
Yeah, no doubt. It'll be interesting to see. And it'll be interesting to see if they sign that dotted line or if more of this is coming.
They're not going to be signing on any dotted line, Rita. I hate to be the one to burst the bubble, but
by the way, General, I think they might, but I don't think they're going to live up to it. I don't think it's a legitimate signature. How does that sound? Or a legitimate promise?
Look, with Iran, you go back to Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. And I mean, if it doesn't have intrusive inspection, if it doesn't have some of the most intrusive ability to go in and monitor what they're doing, it's not going to be worth the paper it's written on.
That's a great point. And by the way, very quickly, we just have about a minute or so left, General, here. To your point, say they never sign it. How long do you think the pummeling will continue to them if they don't ever sign it?
Well, I think once we work down and get down to the military targets and basically have reduced basically any of their capability to have a nuclear weapon or to use the enriched uranium or to continue to block the Strait of Hormuz or continue to export terrorism with the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas, once they don't have that ability anymore, we don't really need to continue our military operation. Their economy is going to be in shambles. Their military capability is going to be next to nothing. I don't think you just have to keep, at some point, even though, the Japanese and the Germans surrendered in World War II, you don't need to put rubble on top of rubble.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Well, let's see where this goes. General, thank you. We always appreciate your perspective. It's so great to have you on. Thank you very much. General Arnold Punaro of the Punaro Group. Thank you very much.
All right. Anytime.
Thank you. Really great. And everybody, I will take your calls when we come back. 1-800-848-9222. You just heard what the general says. He doesn't even think that they will sign any sort of agreement. And by the way, any agreement, to his point, he was brilliant. You got to make sure you have to verify. Can you trust anything they say? I think not. 1-800-848-9222 on a busy news night here on The Rita Cosby Show.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?